Instagram. Hey everybody, it's 2 o'clock. Hey Sylvia, we're on. Let's do this. Adding my friend Sylvia, amazing human being, Yogi, and we're gonna have a great discussion. So stay tuned. Hey,
Hey, how are you?
how you doing, Sylvia?
How you doing? It's hard to hear you, your connection. Can you hear me?
Made it.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. How you
What?
doing?
I'm doing so good. First of all, thank you so much, Lamont, to have me here. Sylvana,
Of
by the way.
course, Savannah. Savannah.
Yeah, Sil. Most people call me Sil also.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to have you on.
Well,
And
I'm happy to be here and I'm so excited to be able to share with you and whoever is out there joining us. I'm seeing faces that I recognize. Mwah. Thank you so much to everybody that's getting online, sharing with Cyber Yoga and myself. The idea, I think, today was to maybe have just a life talk and just get to know each other and share some good vibes and some love out there and see how everybody's doing.
yeah, Life Talk. Yeah, exactly, exactly. We had amazing conversation exchange last week. It was really
Yeah.
which led to this, and
Yeah.
so here to share. So, question like, how are you and family doing? And you're in
I'm in
Montreal.
Montreal. Yeah. So let me just explain first. Can I just give them a little bit of a feedback? A little bit of
Please.
a you don't mind? Okay. So first and foremost, this is Lamont from Cyber Yoga. For those of you in Montreal that know me, that don't know Cyber Yoga, it's an online platform, and he's an awesome. And we're gonna get to you. We're gonna get to you in a second because I'm going to interview you as well. But for those of you that don't know Lamont, he's Cyber Yoga and a beautiful artist, a beautiful dancer. I am in awe. My body cannot do what your body does, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I just want to introduce you formally to the Montrealers that don't know who you are. And
Awesome.
the situation was this: I saw a little bit of your work, and I fell in love with you instantaneously online, and decided, hey, why not like-minded people come together? And so, what's going on here in Montreal right now is I'm not sure with everything that's happening with COVID, we're doing really well, honestly. I can't say there is a fear happening in the world right now, which is palpable. I think we're all feeling a little bit of something, a little bit of a heaviness in the air. But I have to say that keeping my mind, trying to stay focused on really what matters is really what's more important right now than letting the fear kick in. I'm at home, isolated like everybody else. You seem to be having amazing weather. It's
Yeah,
been really cold here. We've had bipolar weather in the last 2 days. Look at that. Oh my.
yeah,
Seriously? Okay.
yeah,
Send me your plane. I'll fly to you.
yeah. It's hot where I am right now. It's so hot.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Right.
hot. It's
Well, you're in a tank top, and I'm sitting here. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Montreal, but it is absolutely cold. We've had hail, rain, snow, and sun in the last 24 hours.
oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow, wow. And how are the people acting down there? Are they civilized? Are they fearful? Or are they
Well, you know
not
what?
really?
What I've been noticing, honestly, is very much so. I'm finding we have two things going on here. What I'm noticing, A is on a beautiful day, people are coming out and they're going for a walk and they're hanging out with family. And probably what I've noticed personally is walking in my neighborhood in Montreal is that we can literally choose to look at it two ways. I'm going to cocoon myself. I'm not going to talk to that guy. I'm going to cross the street when they come by me because I'm afraid, or I'm going to smile, make a connection even though we're across the street from each other, and hopefully we're going to get through this together even though we're isolated in different places, right? So I'm noticing two different aspects. I do see, because I'm very very visual, so when I'm in my neighborhood and I'm walking around, I tend to notice a lot of, wow, these beautiful moments of how many parents right now should be at work and wouldn't have time to ride a bike with their kid, or wouldn't have time to go rollerblading on the street, or wouldn't have time to hold their child's hand. So these are the moments that I'm noticing. I'm
Absolutely.
noticing this beautiful. And then I'm also seeing the other side where you have people that are very cautious, and to all, I really
Yeah.
respect everybody the way they want to deal with the crisis in their own way. But I have noticed that you have the other aspect where you have people very isolated, even though they're walking down the street, they're covered up. There's a fear, kind of almost a sense of fear. They're crossing the street. They're not looking at you in the eyes. You know what I mean? So I've noticed, honestly, two different aspects. What about you? How's California treating? How are Californians dealing with COVID?
Oh my God, California are interesting because there's a lot of fear. A lot of people are like, if you're 6 feet, if you're not, if you're not in the distance of 6 feet, it's funny. I was running 2 weeks ago in my neighborhood, and I had my mask on just to be uh, just to be cool with everybody. I had my mask on. I was running. Me and my girlfriend were running around the block, mask on, and I ran past a lady and with her dog, and I ran past her. I was like, excuse me, I'm getting past you. How you doing? Ran past her with a mask on. She was like, hey, you're not 6 feet away from me. Like you have to be like 6 feet away. Like you have to be away from me. And I was
Yeah,
like, I'm like, you know what? You need to relax. Like we're human beings. There's no reason that you have to act like this. Like you have a
right.
dog. And last time I checked, there was supposedly a case of a tiger having the coronavirus. So who's to say that your dog has the virus and I'm the one that's going to get sick? But either way, it's like I don't care about that. But it's like people are feeding so much into the fear that they're forgetting to be human beings.
Right, right.
And so when I would say, checked her, she realized and she was like, you know what? You're right. Like we are human beings, and this is silly. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I didn't say anything, she wouldn't have like processed what I said because she's so fearful, which I understand. It's like you you can't blame them because the media is like just spreading fear,
Right.
but at the same time, no one's using common sense anymore. And so my common sense is like, excuse me, it's a beautiful day, it's nice and sunny. Everybody's with their families, walking their dogs, their kids. Everybody's out. Everybody's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the media is like, fear, fear, fear. People are dying. People are dying. Hospitals this. Wear your mask. And when I go outside, everything is normal. Everything is peaceful.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going to subscribe to the fear at all. I'm not.
So tell me, when these feelings arise, because I'm sure as a human being, I mean, I know that my fear, honestly, what's going on with me lately, um, and I've always called myself a feeler. I think I described myself that way to you when we first started talking. As an empath, as a feeler, I'm noticing a lot of these energies flying around, and I'm noticing that and I have been speaking to a lot of people, and it's the same thing over and over again. And tell me how you feel about this. Have you noticed that in the fear, even though maybe we're not fearful for ourselves, there's a palpitation, there's an energy in the air, and there's this heaviness that's happening. How are you coping with that? Because I've noticed, and I'll be super honest and super vulnerable, as positive as I try to be, and I am. I'm not fearful of the coronavirus, and it's not that I'm trying to be stupid about it whatsoever. Not at all. I'm trying to be intelligent. I'm trying to stay educated, but I'm not allowing that palpable energy in the air to weigh down what's in my heart, to weigh down the reality that at the end of the day that we're still human beings. And yes, it has hit my family. Somebody in my family has positive coronavirus. And you know what? I learned it's okay. Go for it. Go for it. You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. And I learned through the experience of watching this amazing individual that you can choose to be scared and isolate yourself and live in that fear, which creates this energy in the body, or you can choose to maybe be grateful for the things that are happening. But how are you coping in those moments? My question going back to you, how are you coping in the moments that maybe that sensation, that energy becomes palpable, and you're feeling it on your being, on your body, whether it
Amazing.
be it in thoughts, whether it be it in tears, because I'm sure people out there are going through this.
Oh my God. Excellent question. Number one, we live in Los Angeles. We're in Hollywood, and even amongst, besides the COVID-19 coronavirus,
Right.
there is a heavy energy in Los Angeles. There's a huge energy that we feel every time we travel outside of Los Angeles, whether we go to like Arizona, San Francisco, or we're on the coast driving. We can feel and sense a sense of heavy energy.
Right.
And from my perspective, it could be dark energy, or it could be this tension. People are stressful. It's just the energy as a collective in this vicinity in our area is
Mm-hmm.
very. I can feel it, and like you said, like I'm an empath, so I'm very in tune with my feelings and what I sense. So on top of that, there's a heavy energy in Los Angeles, and coping with that, maintaining my practice is what helps me get through it. Like my
Okay.
meditation, cyber yoga practice, my Neo Sutras practice, you know, um, being more in tune with nature, praying, meditating, you know, connecting more to God's source and energy and
Mm-hmm.
information, reading scripture, reading good information, conscious. That keeps me grounded because, yeah, of course, I'm in the TV and film industry as well. So, I do TV, I do movies and commercials. I've been in that industry. And so a lot of that can be very negative. It can weigh a lot on you.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure it's also very demanding because it's the physical aspect of the human being, right?
yeah,
Being in
yeah,
TV and being in film, you're also being demanded, you're being pulled in many different directions, and you have to also alter your personality to suit whatever role, which means that a piece of your being gets put into every single project, right? So,
it,
how is that for you? How does that work?
interesting. Well, it's more of like I have to learn how to shift gears in different
Okay.
realities. But number one, I always maintain my integrity and who I am and like what I represent. Um, I feel like I have a high duty and a high responsibility. Um, what I do and what I preach and what I represent has to be authentic. So this is what I do. No matter where I go, if I'm on set or not, I'm always gonna maintain who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to compromise my character for anything or anybody. So I'm
And
always
I'll
gonna
be
be.
honest, and I will interrupt in this point to tell you that that is exactly the energy that when I connected with you, that I felt. There was a like-mindedness. There still is very much an authentic part of your being. And I think empath to empath, I think you can sense that, the realness in people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
thank you very much for just being who you are and putting yourself out there and doing this, giving yourself to anybody who's willing to just be part of. You know what I mean? I wanted to ask you for the people that are not yogis. Okay, so we have a specific way of talking. We have a
yeah.
specific way of understanding each other. But there's a lot of people out there that are not yogis and that might just come on here and be like, hey, you know what? Speak to me in English. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk. Let's have a conversation, or maybe have a little bit of a dialogue on on pointers that maybe you and I can maybe share physical aspects that you said you go for a walk, right? When you want to change, you maybe go into your practice, whether it be it your yoga or whether it be it your dance. I wanted to know, going through a little bit of your profiles and so on and so forth. I've noticed, I mean, your physical body can do things that I only dream. I can, even in my dreams, Lamont, I don't think I could ever do it. And it's not to be negative. It's just to know the reality of what my physical body can do. Okay. This vehicle here, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to ask you, how did you come around? What was the inspiration? What is in your soul? What's the message when you start to physically move your body?
Mm.
What's the feeling in you and the purpose of why it is you do what it is that you do?
Excellent question for asking. Um, um, well, as a kid, I was really inspired by like kung fu films and heroes. Michael Jackson, I was inspired by him. So many amazing.
Yeah, I love him. I love
Uh,
him.
so at the moment, I didn't have strong male father figure role models. So I had to get most of my inspiration watching like Michael Jackson, superheroes, and all. So a part of that um, gave me a blueprint in a sense, and it was like burned into my memory about being a good person, being an amazing individual. Really about Michael Jackson, just he and I believe that Michael Jackson is not a pedophile. So just to clarify that. Um,
I think he
to
was a misunderstood individual personally, but absolutely, I agree with you. I don't really care what anybody else has to say, and it's no no excuse to anything. But I think he was a misunderstood individual. But go ahead.
so for me, Michael Jackson. Sorry, excuse me, the traffic, but it's
That's
so
all
nice.
good.
Okay, so for me, Michael Jackson represented an amazing human being. Not only was he physically talented, but more importantly, who he was. He cared about people, his essence, his integrity, his honesty, his innocence, his love and like compassion for like humanity really inspired me. There was something about him, like he was definitely an anomaly to me, and so his being is what, in a sense, like created me. And
Mhm.
there's no why billions of people all across the globe were crying for him because they understood, they felt a deeper connection that he's not just, oh, I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, I'm hot. It wasn't that.
Yeah, no.
He represented humanity on a level that no other artist to this day has done, still to this day. And so that was my blueprint. That was one of my major blueprints. And then I got into like breakdancing, and breakdancing changed my life because it's a discipline that you can't you can't just like buy a certain skill or move. You really have to, when you want to learn how to do something, when you
Hmm.
want to do a backflip or do head spins or create these amazing combinations with your body, you really have to train your mind and body to do it. And that comes with like hours and hours and hours and days and months and years of repetition until you finally understand, you get it. There's like a sense of like a monk mindset training when it comes to that mindset of training, of learning something new
Yeah.
and achieving something. I've always, wanted to learn how to do head spins. Like, how can I like spin in my head? It took me like a year of just blood, sweat, and tears in the garage every day,
So never
bruises
quit,
and
never
scratches.
giving up, never giving up.
No,
What did you do with the
but
voices? What did you do with voices? What would you have done with voices that surfaced in those moments where maybe you didn't have it yet? You didn't have the talent to the degree that maybe you saw it growing, but yet there was voices coming up saying, you know what? Did you ever deal with that? Did you deal with voices in your head that said, hey, you know what? Maybe this hurts too much, or maybe tomorrow I want to do something different, or you know what? I'd rather hang out with my friends right now. Where was your discipline? Where did that come from?
my discipline. Well, number one, I'm a Taurus. I'm a diehard.
That says a lot.
No, I'm not doing this. That change that. Um, I'm a Taurus, so I'm very stubborn, but I'm stubborn, positive, and something that's going to benefit me in many ways. So
Yes.
I listen to anybody's voices telling me what I can or cannot do. Even myself, I've always believed in myself and always had a calling that if you really put in the hard work, it's going to pay off. So is this an ethic that I've had my whole life? And I always believe, what, I'm never too tall or too young, too old. I believe that anything is possible if you put your mind to it, and there are no limitations at all. And so even like me, younger, not even being conscious about anything, I
Mm-hmm.
still have this mindset, being stubborn about what I really wanted to learn. And so I really wanted to learn how to do flares, how to do head spins, how to do a backflip, and and you know what? I didn't care. what it took, how many hours, how many years and days. That was just my focus and my dream, um, to learn these skill sets. And I learned one trick, learned another thing, and I was so inspired by that ethic that I just kept on going. And so I got to a certain level in my dancing where I was comfortable, I was happy, but then I was I felt stuck. And so this is when I found acrobatics and like hand
Okay.
balancing and like circus training. And so I was really inspired by the focus and like discipline of like circus training of hand balancing, because I've always just wanted to learn how to balance on one hand. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, like, that's like a Jedi mindset to me. And I remember being a little kid watching Star Wars and watching Luke Skywalker balance on the rock with one hand with Yoda on his foot. And there's something about that scene that really inspired me as a kid. Fast forward years later, I wanted to download this skill set. And through law of attraction synchronicity, I happened to find a coach that I needed at that time to teach me what I needed to learn.
Okay.
Okay. And so I took that. But then on top of all, I felt there was something missing and something lacking in my practice. And what it was that, yes, I had amazing skill sets and discipline and focus, but I wasn't honoring my mind, body, and spirit. And so I was missing and lacking the spirituality aspect, not to mention the flexibility of yoga. And so, again, law of attraction, um, synchronicity. You know, I like ran across a yoga magazine, and I saw this guy doing amazing poses, and he was like, like older white guy, super flexible, doing amazing. And I was like, oh my god, if I can integrate these postures into my dance breaking, it's gonna be crazy.
So you incorporated yoga after dance, and yoga impressed you after the fact that you had already learned everything. Well, I mean, not everything, but I mean, you had learned quite a bit in your dance career, and still you were going forward. You were pushing forward. You were like, okay, this is not enough. I have to go to the next level, and that
Yeah,
came from a heart's calling. That came from a place right here,
yeah.
or was
Well,
it more right here, or was it a balance of both?
it was a balance of both because I had I had the vision and concept of cyber yoga before I realized it.
Okay.
And so when I saw the yoga posture and this yogi, I was really inspired by his practice. Richard Freeman, his
Okay.
name. Um, Again, I was really inspired by the practice of yoga, not to mention the spirituality aspect, what it gives you. Because I wasn't really honoring my body and my mind, body, and spirit. I was always pushing, training hard, not giving up, and letting not body rest and just being really focused, but not really honoring my mind, body, and spirit. Yoga gave me that clarity
Did
and,
yoga?
and of the mind, body, and spirit. And so I adopted that to my practice. And then I kind of like took a break. I was in a relationship. I was married at the time. And then I went through a crazy breakup with my wife. We had split and broke up. And this was in like in 2012. It completely damaged me. Like I was not training and eating for a year. I was completely psychologically in a dark space, in a negative space, a really bad place. Um, I was in a depression for a year, so I wasn't eating, I wasn't training, I wasn't motivated, nothing.
I live that. I get that.
Mhm.
I
But
get.
through God's source and through yoga, something was like, Lamont, you have to get out of your rut, and you have to really get back to your mission and your goal. And so it wasn't until doing yoga again, and I had the idea to create something, to create a fusion of all of my disciplines and my focus and my training to one thing, like a brand, and to leave a legacy. But I wanted to find a name for what this concept is,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely wanted to adopt yoga to the end, as yoga was like my salvation at the point in time. It was God and yoga, so I was like, I was trying to find a name for what I call this brand, and then I'm a friend. Okay, I'm a huge fan of like science fiction, technology, the future, like all that. Like I'm into just like future technologies, you know, evolution, modern. Like this is me. Like I love tech, and so I was watching a bunch of movies at the time, and my favorite movie of all time is Terminator 2.
Okay.
Judge, and one of the characters in the movies, his name is Miles Dyson, and right, and he's the one that found the computer chip from the first T-800 machine in the first Terminator movie. He
Okay.
took the chip and he learned how to decode it, and he understood how to create these machines for the future. And it was a black guy, okay, and his name was Miles Dyson, but the name of his Cyberdyne Systems, Cyber.
Ah!
And so I was like, immediately I was like, oh my god, there's something about. I was like cybernetic yoga, cyber, and I was like, cyber yoga. I was like, oh my god, this is genius, because like, but I wanted to go deeper, and what it is that I wanted cyber to actually mean something. So it's an acronym. So cyber is calisthenics, yoga, breakdance, evolution, revolution,
Get
and
out of here. That's so cool.
so for me, it's a futuristic spiritual practice that I wanted to create. Um, and now, like everything is modern and tech, digital, Wi-Fi, everything. I wanted to be this person that's going to take yoga into the digital age, but in a new way. So that's why I called it cyber yoga, because we're spiritual machines,
Mm-hmm.
biomechanical machines, right? But we're spiritual at the same time. And so that's where it was. It was cyber yoga, and that's when it came to be. And
Well,
so and so when I posted my first photo, um, it went viral, went crazy viral, and it was a super soldier pose that I posted. It went viral in the yoga committee. Like
yeah, I
people,
saw it. Yeah.
and for me, like that was like confirmation that I was on my path. And this is, years later led to where I am now, and kept on creating and being more in tune, listening to God, listening to the Akashic, getting downloads, creating, and now I'm here.
Because now you're in the flow. There's no forcing it. There's no
No,
forcing it, right? So you're living in the vibration, in the, and that was, you know why? Because you followed without fear. You didn't
that's
allow, you went, this is what the topic was today, right? Love versus fear. And this story is an exact example of how you followed love. When you had moments of fear, you could have been derailed from this path. You could have easily allowed somebody else's no to determine who you were. You could have allowed the fact that your history, your background might not have given you the perfect alleyway to get to where you needed to go, but you
yeah.
made your road. And that's the whole topic of today's conversation: love versus fear. And it doesn't necessarily mean romantic love. It doesn't necessarily mean, somebody scorned me and I have to forgive. It's a personal love. It's a love of who you are, of what you do. And this is exactly why I wanted to share your story, because it's palpable. You vibrate this. And I'm so
Live it.
honored and grateful to be able to hear your story and share it, and be able to,
You.
introduce the people that don't know who cyber yoga is to the Montreal side of the East Coast.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just my main thing is always leading by example, and just being transparent and being authentic, and just really
Right.
following your passion, because I feel like God, whatever you want to call it, the creator, whatever you want to call it, she, him, gives you the gifts of having a skill set, and having a sense of knowing of something. So when you have a gift, I feel like you have to like utilize it to benefit
Right.
humanity in different ways.
Right.
And I feel like if you're not acting on your gift, then you're doing a disservice to yourself and for humanity.
Right. And I
So
agree.
like God has given me this motivation and like mindset to really be focused and driven. And of course, me, I'm a Taurus, so I'm going to be stubborn about it and be like, okay, this is what I have to do. This is my life's purpose. It's the only thing that really makes me happy. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm honoring myself and my family, and I'm honoring the world. And on top of all of that, like I feel like I'm actually helping people by sharing my knowledge to like inspire them to be good at what they're doing. Not
Right.
everybody is gonna be cyber yoga, but everybody will find their skill set. Whether you're a poet, writer, whatever it is, I'm just using my talent to like show you what's possible if you put your heart, mind, and soul into it. It's like I didn't just wake up in the morning and just magically have all these skill sets. No, it was like years and years of
No, you worked at it, and you literally minute by minute, day by day, month by month, week by week, and year by year, it's a craft. It's something that you work at. And it's, I think the same thing with spirituality. Honestly, I think it has the same thing. There comes a place where hopefully we get to, as human beings living this experience right now, where we get to maybe start to live in our wisdom, through our experiences, through our time here on this planet. And some of us are born with this wisdom already open, and some of us need experience in order to get there. And whatever it is, it's that,
yeah.
to me, is that's not the process. The process is not it's the journey. And I know a lot of people say, oh, the word journey, everybody uses the word journey, but honestly what it is everybody's got their own avenue and their own path. And sometimes, like the other day, you were interviewing Drez, and he was saying a quote that I love, that his wife apparently reads, about going down the street and then eventually falling down a hole. And those of you that know the quote, I'm not going to say it all, but you're walking down this path and there's a hole, and you keep walking down the same street and falling back into the same hole, and then eventually you wake up one day and you decide to go down another street, right?
Yeah,
So that's, I think, the wisdom that comes with experience. And it's in the darkness that these things happen. It's in, if, and I keep telling people, if everything's perfect, then we're living an illusion. You know
exactly.
what I mean? We're living, right now, I'm in the process of watching The Matrix for the first time, believe it or not. And I saw number one 2 days ago, and I saw number two last night. All right. And I finally decided to tune into The Matrix. Okay, we get each other. We get each other.
Okay,
Let's talk.
I forgot to mention that the other blueprint for me was the Matrix movie. It's the
Like,
only movie in my life when the first time I saw it, I walked out of the movie theater and I felt my mind had transformed.
okay,
My
okay.
mind on my mind, body, and spirit on a molecular level transformed
Well,
because
see, go ahead.
yeah, it transformed. And if you don't know, the creator of the Matrix movie was a black woman by the name of Sophia Stewart.
Okay, I did not know.
She created this whole franchise, not the Wachowski brothers. It was Sophia Stewart,
So
and this
shout out to Sophia Stewart.
her name is Sophia Stewart, and she's
Okay,
the that's responsible for creating the Terminator franchise. And
okay,
I had a conversation with her, so I know her and talked to her because I researched her and read out to her because I know that she's the reason why I'm on my path now. But anyway, she created the Matrix and the movie Terminators independently, huge franchise, like multi-billion-dollar franchises, right?
mm-hmm.
But what you don't know is that the movie, the Matrix and the Terminator, was actually one movie.
Oh wow.
It was supposed to be one film, and you
Okay,
know what? She put her film out for some contest like many years ago, and someone stole her concept and turned it into a film and made it two separate franchises. They created The Matrix
okay.
and The Terminator as separate franchises, but they're all one movie. It's supposed to be the one film. Like it's supposed to be one film, but
Which makes sense to me. You know what? You know what? Watching it, it makes absolute sense how they could interblend the stories.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's the story is what no, no. Yeah. It's the movie that inspired my thought process. It's the message about the movie about being, you know what, like unplugging from the matrix, unplugging from the grid, which we're in now. We're
We
in
are
a
in
grid.
it, brother. We are in it, and we're in it every single day. Every single day, we're in it. You know what? I 100%. I interrupt you for a second to tell you that I 100% believe you and trust in what you're saying, because that is the overall. And you're gonna hear me say the word a lot. Feel, because I'm like I feel that is when I was watching, and I haven't seen it. I've never allowed anybody to talk to me about it. And the same thing with books. Books call me when it's time for me to read them in a spiritual path. Okay. This movie, for some reason, has been out for 20 years. Nothing has gotten me to the point of being ready to receive the news or the information. Now, not because I don't believe in it, because I believe in it so much so that I don't want to be disturbed or to change my concept and my ideology by other people's influences. And so that's why I had never come to the Matrix before. And then something 2 days ago called me and said, it's time to watch this movie. And like I said, part 1 was 2 days ago. Part 2 was last night. I will do part 3 this evening. But I'm just letting you know that everything you're describing from this being to you, I absolutely feel. And those of you are out there that are not watching The Matrix or that don't understand this energetic pull, you can roll your eyes. I invite you to. But I understand that you understand.
Roll it all
And
you want.
yeah, I get it. I get it. And as I'm watching it, honestly, what I'm noticing is that none of these concepts, for me anyways, right, feel like it's new information. It's all part of this being. It's all been within me. I was born into the awareness, and I've always known that. I remember at 2 years old, and I'm not gonna, and it's not to say, hey, Sil, it's just an awareness. At 2 years old, I don't have memories as much as me as a kid, but I do remember the feeling of walking down the hallway in my parents' home, knowing that this life was more than just, and I'm going to be crude, eating, sleeping, shitting, and dying. That this
Yeah.
life was
Yeah.
about love, was about connection, was about grandeur, and the experiences that I've lived in my life with certain premonitions and certain things that I've experienced, that divinity has shown me that we are interconnected, is so beautiful. And this movie is just reminding me that everything that I feel and see that is not part of this grand being is the Matrix. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You said it. You said reminding. It's a
Yes.
reminder. And again, I'm gonna go back to another one of my inspirations is one of my mentors, the one that really unplugged my mindset. He was like my life guide, and he references the Matrix a lot. And so, well, what I realized is that this movie is not a movie; it's a documentary about.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a documentary.
Absolutely. If you look at it and take notes, you could turn around and restructure your whole concept. Absolutely.
So
Just have
deep.
to be open to it.
Absolutely, it's so deep. And you know what? What you want to realize is that that movie was made 20 years ago, but in a sense, time is not linear.
Mm-hmm.
Have
There's no
for
such thing as
so
time.
that that information back then is relevant now more than ever
Right.
because it's the same cycle that happens all throughout timelines in like humanity. You know, like there's a certain template that happens over and over.
Right. And we're in another cycle right now. We're in it.
Cycle.
We're in
Yeah,
it.
the planet's
Yeah.
been through countless cycles. There's been countless, civilizations, Atlantis, whatever you want to call it. There's been unlimited,
Mm-hmm.
and happening again. It's the same information happening again, and so it's like, you know what? I feel like we've all had several lifetimes, and it's like, what are you learning in this lifetime? Like, are you learning the lesson from the past now? Like, are you going to repeat the same mistake in the next lifetime? No, it's like
Right.
now it's time to learn. So this is like a
Right.
school. Life is a
Well, you know,
school.
And yeah, and I do believe, and I agree with you 100%. We are here for this is for me, anyways. In my experience, I'm not going to speak for other people, but what I have come to experience is that we come here, and the purpose is not to come here, and there are people that will disagree with me, and it's all I really do believe in balance. You could have the beautiful house and the nice car and the vacations, but can you have the beautiful house, the nice car, and the vacations, and the compassionate heart? Can you have that and be a good person? Can you have that and smile and look at your neighbor in the eye? Can you look at somebody brand new that you've never seen before and find one beautiful thing about them? You know what I mean? And that's adding moments of balance in the gift of being able to have the luxuries of this world, right? Like there's a lot of time that we started at the beginning of the conversation. You were saying California feels heavy right now, and I think that, you know what, being in California, you're in a city, and like I love California. I would absolutely come there in 2 seconds. Any hairdressers slash yogis need anybody, let me know. But all I'm saying is California has the same energy I think that the rest of the world is feeling right now at the same time. I'm in Montreal, and you know what? It's feeling heavy here too. And I think what's happening is that people, due to fear, are and due to isolation, due to maybe being demanded of if by family, you're used to having your own process, you're used to maybe having a little bit of your own time. Now maybe your partner's home, your kids are home, the dog is home, the cat is home, everybody's all over the case, you know what I mean? And maybe finding a little bit of time for you alone is where I'm finding these online classes and these conversations a blessing,
Yeah.
because it gives me the time to be able to say I need to disconnect from my 14-year-old, or I need to disconnect from whatever else is happening, and it's giving me a chance to have yoga, right? But one thing I've noticed, and actually I have a question that came up because of the heaviness, right? That's happening out there today in the world. One of the questions that was asked while you were talking was, what do you do? How do you calm those voices inside? If, for example, the fear starts to creep up, and you are taking your walks, and you're doing your yoga, and you're having your conversations with the people around you, but these voices come up. One of the questions was, so how do you calm those voices? Do you have internal dialogue that you like to share? Because I honestly, I can share a piece of information that may or may not help. One piece of information that I know, and my voices come up as well because I'm human, right? And they come up especially when there's emotion, is that I try to remember, and I might not catch it. There's often times that I don't catch it in the moment. I may catch it 5 minutes later, and then I'll come back to it, and then kind of retune in and refeel it, and try to change the energy so that I can disperse it and change it into something different rather than whatever it is that I'm feeling. Because if I keep it in my body, then it's only going to accumulate and grow. And this is what dis-ease is, discomfort. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But what I'm
Absolutely.
saying, what the dialogue that I have is, I am not my body, and I am not this mind. And these emotions belong to the physical body, and my heart, and my heart is who I am. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that I don't feel the feelings, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take everything away. But if
Yeah.
I try to tune in and say to myself, I am not these emotions. The emotions belong to the physical body. The body is my physical vehicle in which I am experiencing this time and frame. Then for me, it helps me quite a bit to say, okay, I can breathe.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to come to it. What's your internal dialogue? Do you have a message? And
Uh,
I know that it can change. I know it can change depending on situations, but what would be the first thing that would come to your mind?
um, it's amazing as the birds are chirping as you ask that question. Um, Honestly, I'm going to say, since my, I'm going to just say it, that since my ayahuasca ceremony, and I've been to the other side, I understand that the default is love and compassion and peace. So in this matrix reality, as long as I'm aligned with Creator God and I'm grateful, I don't have any fear. I don't listen. I don't. If there are voices, then I don't listen to them
Okay.
because I know if these voices are, they're not going to serve me. I'm not going to feed into fear.
Okay. So I'm going through the questions that I'm just going through some of the questions that we've been asked. So I have Lisa 88 who's saying no fear. So there's the answer to that question, Lisa.
Okay.
That just go ahead.
Yeah, let me address. Okay, there's nothing wrong with being fearful. There's nothing wrong with emotions. You cannot suppress them, but I think it's really important to focus on what's going to benefit you the most. Like
Right.
in a constant fear, it's going to, you may actually attract a situation into your life. It's
Because of
like,
the fear.
it's like the whole like a placebo concept. It's like when you know that you're taking something that's good for you, even though there are no benefits in what you're taking, your mind creates the reality. So if you flip that using fear in everything you do, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to compromise your immune system, your spirit, your being, and it's like you're able to let some foreign invader come in to like invade. No,
Right.
you have to be more strong now than ever. This is a test for everybody. So you be mentally, physically, like on point, like yoga mode, like strong now. This is a test for everybody. And you have to do not let the media in the system take your mind from you. Like how like you can't believe everything you hear. Like listen to your higher self. Listen to your highest technology, which is like your intuition.
Right. Right. And you know what? I'll share quickly a little experience that I had. As for fear and the physical body, and you're absolutely right, Lamont, when you're saying with don't let it take over. And we do get a choice. A lot of people think that they don't have a choice, and I've been personally in experiences in the past where emotion has led me to believe that I don't have a choice, right? To the point that, and you were talking about your marriage and the breakup of the marriage and how you were in a depression for a year. I had that situation happen to me as well. I was almost, I would say I spent a year in my room. You know what I mean? In feelings and sadness and whys and what ifs and how did I allow and so on and so forth. And what I've noticed with that experience is that um, I had a choice. I had a choice. I had a choice in allowing the feelings to accumulate. I had a choice in the chatter in my mind, and even those at the time I didn't realize that I could turn it off. I didn't realize that I could choose God and good. I didn't realize that I could maybe learn from this experience and use the curiosity of all the questions rather than the breakdown of all the questions. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
having lived through that experience, I can honestly say that it is choosing love, to love yourself, because the fear is the punishment. The fear is getting stuck in why, how come, why did I allow? That's all fear based. And
yeah,
it keeps us in that past experience. It keeps us in the moment of not wanting to move forward. And sometimes we actually choose to blame, we choose to get stuck in that isolation, in that space, whether blaming ourselves, the experience, the person, right? But it sometimes feels better to feel shitty than not to feel nothing at all. And that comes from that space of fear. It comes from that place in the body where, hey, feeling crappy is what I'm used to. So I'm
yeah.
just going to keep punishing myself with this chatter, with this information that really doesn't serve me in any way. And it's funny that I didn't know about your history, about your ex relationship. And it's also really, really interesting that we have another commonality in that aspect. And I think that people out there, whether it be it loss of relationship, whether it be it loss of family member, child, whether it be it loss of parent, whether it be it loss of job, or even loss of the unknown, what's happening right now with COVID, loss of finances, loss of control, right? All these aspects are happening right now in our world, and they're all creating fears. And they can leave us completely paralyzed, and losing a year of our time. And sometimes that loss will come back as a gift, right?
But
And sometimes
yes,
it's just time. And I think
I,
that if we do right, it comes back as a gift. Go ahead.
I feel like this this situation. Um, I'm gonna go back to my depression. I
Yes,
look at
go
my
ahead.
situation past. It was a blessing in
It was
disguise.
me too.
And so right now, fast forward to the situation right now. What's happening? In a sense, it's because it's creating fear and it's making you wake up really fast. I feel like everybody has to wake up really fast, and
Yeah.
yet there are some casualties along the way. Um, but you have to make sure that your mind and your body and spirit is right. If you're not taking care of your vessel, then I feel like the person lost the battle because they wasn't taking care of their vessel. You have to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. Like it's no joke.
Yeah. Well, you
You
know what?
know,
Here's a quick one. Here's a quick one that just came to me. If your vessel's your spaceship and hold on, things come to me, okay? So just let it flow. If your vessel is your spaceship, and our job is to go from one galaxy to another and reach these altitudes of heights of beauty and grandeur and compassion and love. And that spaceship does not get tuned into the vibration of health, of commonality, of maintenance, and of everything that like is survival, then we can't get to the next planet. We can't get to the next level. We can't get to the next universe. So thank you. Thank you for that. I don't know. It just came through. Things happen. It'll happen often with me.
that was beautiful. You said like it's perfect. It's like it's a perfect analogy, and that's why I keep on saying that this event or awakening, people look at it as oh my, it's a crisis, but I look at this as an awakening because the only way for people to change and wake up is that you have to go through hardship. Like I went through the most darkest times in my life where I was actually visited by dark. I was actually taunted by dark beings. When I
Mm-hmm.
was in my lowest vibrational state, I've 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 encountered dark entities. And on the flip side, I've I've been I've encountered God source, love, compassion. It sounds cliche, but I've been on that side where I've experienced bliss and love and compassion, and that's the highest vibration and the highest frequency is love. But
Mm-hmm.
living in a limited reality matrix, there's not a lot of love and a lot of compassion, but it's here for you to learn. Like this is nothing but a school. This matrix is nothing but a school, and the lessons and the hardships are your teachers. So it's
Right.
like, are you going to be a good student or not? It's just really how you look at it.
And the
Lisa,
thing is, and the thing is also, are you going to be a good student or not, or are you willing to repeat it all over again and come down and come start it all over again, right? So
you're not.
it depends on your. It really depends on your belief system. I mean, some people might agree if they believe in reincarnation, and some people will be like, "Hey, still, I'm rolling my eyes here because you're really left field," and that's okay. That doesn't really matter for me. You have the choice to believe what you want to believe. I do believe in reincarnation. I believe that the heart survives. I believe the soul survives. And I believe that the lessons will keep on coming. And I know I've lived many lifetimes, buddy. Let me tell you that I'm tired. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm here and I know I live them and I remember some of them. And there's been experiences that have taught me, like when I had that car accident. I think we had a quick conversation. I told you about a car accident that I was not supposed to survive. In that moment when the car was flipping, I told you the only thing that happened was my 1-year-old daughter in the back seat and me in the front seat. And the only thing that happened was this palpable sensation of no time and absolute unconditional love. That's the only thing that stayed. Everything else stopped. And then the car came to its stop. You know what I'm saying? So your topic of having seen the darkest, but also having encountered the lightest energy of love, and you want to call it God, universe, Allah, Buddha, whatever
yeah,
you want to call it, It's there, and the universe right now is calling for more and more and more and more and more.
Absolutely.
And it's our job to come together and do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have a question from Lisa881M.
Yes.
I'm not good enough. It's horrible.
What's the question?
From Lisa881M.
Okay.
I am not good enough. It's horrible. Well, this obviously comes from a lot of years and years of you going through and being conditioned to, be this way. I feel like your life and family and situations shape who you are.
And you're beautiful, Lisa, just so you know.
Yes, you're beautiful, and I've been there. But you constantly have to do self work. Like you have to work on yourself. People are so quick to buy the most fanciest car, the fanciest house, but not work on their own personal development with their relationships and themselves ultimately. Like you have to make sure that you're right first, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Like you have to make sure that all those three are checked off. Like it's really
Right.
important for yourself.
Okay,
Like,
so we have a few minutes to go, and I just noticed that I have Patricia saying that she's feeling the same way. I wish we could continue this conversation because I mean, God, let's go for another hour live. Let's do it. But the thing here's the question. Here's the how can we go about giving them one thing that what I would say to you is when those voices appear and you hear yourself say, I'm not good enough. And however it comes up, whether it be a thought, an emotion, because sometimes it's emotions before thoughts. However it comes up, hold on to your heart, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and change the dialogue. Change the dialogue. It is up to you to turn around and know that you were born into a process. Stories already started before you came here. My daughter's going to be a doctor. My daughter's going to be a lawyer. My daughter's going to be a this and a that and a that and a that and a that. And so we come here with all these expectations before we're even born. And then we have the expectations of our teachers, our parents, ourselves, our peers. None of this is real. Lisa, Patricia, none of it is real. You know who you are. And in those moments when you close your eyes and you touch your heart, if those moments feel like a moment of peace, of breath, that's who you are. That's what you come back to at all times. You come back to
beautiful.
The heart of the being. What do you think?
That's beautiful. That's so nail on the head. That's so accurate. So true. So true. And you know what? I'm not going to sit here and preach like I'm perfect.
I'm not. Trust me, I speak because I do the same.
Yeah. But I do strive to be a better human being every day as much as I can.
Yeah.
I'm learning from you, everybody. I'm learning all the time, and I'm always going to be a student, never a master. We have a minute and 56 minutes. 1 minute left. So
1 minute.
Let's do another one. We have to do another one. Maybe next week.
Absolutely. Those of you that want to do another one, send us a line and we will do another one no matter what, because I really had a great time with you, Lamont. I want to say thank you so much for giving me the platform, giving me the opportunity to be able to speak with you, to get to know you at a different level. I'll reach out after offline to just continue our conversation a little bit. But thank you for everybody who joined. And thank you so much. And just know that you guys are amazing. That it's a process, right? It's a process. It's a daily process. And so thank you. I want to wish you a beautiful day and let you know that you are absolutely seen. Thank you.
Likewise. Everything. We're going to do another one, okay?
I promise. Okay. I'll reach out.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Bye.
Bye.